What's up, sickos? Well, we took our shot, got a little nuts, and punished the problematic parents. That's right, with Squirrel with a gun beaten, it's time we add this to our score sheet and give it a sick shock a score. Gobble your golden acorns and grab your guns. It's time to squirrel around one last time. There are three main areas I can really think to break down here, and they would be the weapons and vehicles offered, the levels and areas, and finally, the bosses in Father and Mother. Without further ado, we will go through these in that order. In the beginning, we are but a humble little squirrel in search for some nuts when we stumble into a secret lair and are ambushed by agents. It's here we gain our first gun, that being a simple pistol. That description is pretty fair to how effective and useful it is for us. Simple. It's a little more controlled of the weapons, not being able to fire quickly or as powerful rounds as the others, but that can be beneficial as well. If you are looking to get headshots and then do the takedowns, this is honestly one of the better runs for you to use. Later in the game, there is also a revolver that is functionally the same, but looks way cooler. Finally, the pistol allowed you to easily traverse gaps, as once again it is a bit easier to control and time shots to utilize the only rounds you need to make the gap, but it also doesn't kill you when you try this, but we'll talk about this later. Shortly after, you come across the SMG, or submachine gun. This one is personally my favorite, as it is harder to control your shots, but who really cares when there are so many of them flying towards the enemy? It's bound to hit something, right? Additionally, I found it easier to get across the gaps and to much higher grounds than the other guns. In my playthrough, this was the only gun I would actively look for during boss fights. Once you get into the neighborhood a bit and find the Mine Man, I will not be elaborating, you may then come across the shotgun. Another solid choice of weapon here, as the blast will typically take down or stun your target, making it easier to do takedowns or eliminate the threat then and there. However, you only get 2 rounds before you need to reload, and besides battles, I didn't find much use for the shotgun, so buyer beware. Next came our friendly little grenade launcher. I will admit, if you found yourself surrounded by agents or needing to clear an area quickly, I did find this one most useful. But for players like me who like to get up close and personal, you'll do the same damage to yourself, if not more, being a tiny little squirrel we are. Once again, I find there was only really one use for this weapon, making it less useful than some of the others already stated. In the same way, the next weapon that becomes available to us is the rocket launcher. I would say the same exact thing about the rocket launcher that I would the grenade launcher, but the rocket launcher also offered a rocket jump, which, if you shot the ground below you, would launch you to higher platforms or across larger gaps, if it didn't kill you in the process. Still cooler than the grenade launcher though. Finally, you will come across the sniper rifle, which is a hoot to use. It usually brings agents to their knees or takes them out entirely. The only downside is the kickback, which, duh, we're a squirrel, not really made for our furry friends in mind. Still a really solid weapon to use from afar, making it my third favorite right above the launchers. To make the vehicles quick, I gotta be honest, I did not care for these, or the parts where it forces you to use them. The RC car is hard to control and turns too quickly. The boat must have been so bad that they needed to add an auto drive feature. And the drone was fine, but added nothing much for me besides a means to an end. I see why they felt the need to add these in, as we are but a little guy, but I didn't really use them unless I had to. Moving on to the area section of this, there are 2 larger areas, and then there are the 2 smaller areas to discuss. We start in the secret lab, as I mentioned in the beginning, which serves as our tutorial level. There's not much to do here besides learn how to shoot, throw, take down agents, and platform. It's got a cool design, but beyond that, there's not much to it. After we leave the lab, however, with our golden acorn in tow, we find ourselves in the neighborhood above. This area has a lot to do. There are your obvious suburban homes to plunder, backyard weddings to crash, skate park to own the wannabes at, football fields where the squirrel wins all, backyard barbecues to host, and a saloon to rein in the Wild West. What more could a squirrel want? In all seriousness, this section of the game is by far the best. There were secret Easter eggs to find, fun puzzles to tackle, and overall goofy encounters to explore. I'm looking at you, frat house. Eventually, though, Father emerges from his hideout in the neighborhood and shoots you with a tank. I can't make this up. He's so mad, he tries to blow us to bits, and then just kind of taunts us and goes back to hide. We'll talk about this when we get to the boss fights. Once you complete everything in the neighborhood, the next area open to you is the pool area, which offers very similar puzzles as the neighborhood, but everything is pool themed besides the random tower in the middle. I feel they did such a good job with the neighborhood portion that I felt a little underwhelmed with the pool area overall. It wasn't bad, just missing something. There was a haunted house though, so that was cool. Except for those creepy dolls. You can keep those. Lastly, once all the pool puzzles are solved, you unlock the last area, which is Mother's Tower. This is where we first come across the drone, and this area is probably the smallest and the most eh. It is strictly there to have you fly up to the final boss fight. That's it. There are a bunch of agents in there that you need to take out before flying higher, but again, that's it. Just an interesting way to enter the end zone, in my opinion. Let's move on and talk about the big bads of the game, Father and Mother. These two are high-ranking agents that are tasked with taking the squirrel out and recovering their lost intel, and do so quickly. As I stated earlier, Father greets us in a tank and tries to blow us up to sky high. In a tank. Against a squirrel. Little overkill, man. To access his boss fight, we unfortunately need to use the RC car to drive down to the depths of his bunker. Thankfully for me, the car is not needed for the boss fight itself, and I ditched that as soon as possible. To get to Father, we have to damage the wheels of the tank and the cow catcher attached to the front. This requires us to use our size to get under the tank and destroy it from behind. The wheels are a little trickier as we need to keep moving to avoid certain death, agents, mounted machine gun fire, and of course, the tank's rounds themselves. But if you keep moving, the silly little agents have a difficult time locking in on you, and more often than not, take each other out. Once you can get to the top of the tank and pop open that bad boy, you can drop a grenade down and take Father down. Or so it would seem. All in all, his boss fight is pretty cool, and can be challenging depending on your choice of weapon. Once again, I recommend the SMG, as I did not have to do too much aiming to hit my target, and still kept moving and doing so quickly. Mother introduces herself to us when we take the water slide to the pool area. We land in the pool, and there she emerges ready to kick us back in. Kind of rude. After that, Father descends from the skies in a helicopter and picks Mother up as they retreat back to her tower. Once we get to the top of the tower, they await in their helicopter, and we get to play The Floor is Lava, as the floor actually begins to be consumed by lava below. The squirrel finds his drone again and takes the final fight to the skies. This fight was a little easier, as there was so much less to dodge. The only thing really is Mother charging at you, blades first, trying to cut us down to size. But this also exposes the weak spots of the helicopter, and we send them sailing down into the lava below. This fight I found was much easier than Father's. It was still pretty fun. There isn't much else to really say about this game, as that sums up the plot, enemies, and levels within. It's a great game to play to come down from a hard day, for gamers who just want a chill game to play like me, or for, I guess, the squirrel enthusiasts. I am giving Squirrel with a Gun a sickshockascore of 6.5 out of 10, as I would have liked to see more in the pool area of the game, and I would have also liked the game to be a little bit longer, but I had nothing but fun playing the game, and had a lot of laughs. I will probably play this again sometime in the future, and there is some replayability for it, but for now, that wraps up Squirrel with a Gun. Thank you, sickos, for watching, and seriously, if you're looking for a silly game to play and to kill some time, why not give this game a chance? I'll see y'all next time.